I'm taking you through a beginner yoga sequence. This will help you build up some strength and also gain flexibility, even if you don't really have a lot of experience with yoga and you're just getting into it. So I'm not using any props, which means you don't need any equipment at home. I want this to be really easy and simple for you to follow. So we'll start in a wide like a child's pose. This is a wonderful pose to open up through the inner thighs and really start getting into the hips. So big toes together, bring your knees as wide as you would like them to be. The wider they are, the more intense this will be. So intensity is okay, but we never want it to go into the realm of pain. So as you reach your hips towards your heels, you can extend your arms forward and just try to relax your head, your neck, your chest towards the mat. And already check in with yourself and notice if there's pain in your low back or pain through the inner thighs. And if that's the case, just bring your knees closer in towards each other. Especially at the beginning of our practice, you're probably a little bit tighter, a little bit stiffer. And as we warm up, it'll be easier to get into these types of poses. So a huge part of yoga is all about connecting to your breath. So as we hold here for just a few more moments, really focus on breathing in and out through your nose and sending that breath all the way down to your belly. So not just breathing in a shallow way through your chest, but really deep, mindful breaths. And take 3 breaths here. Whenever you exhale, see if you can relax your shoulders a little more and relax your hips a little more. And stretch out really long through your arms. Let's push into the hands. Start to lift back up, tabletop pose. So on hands and knees, align your knees under your hips and your hands under your shoulders. And really spread your fingertips as wide as you possibly can and push into your fingertips and knuckles. We're trying to take some of the weight out of our wrists. Cat and cow, as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze up, curl tailbone up. And as you exhale, reverse this motion now by rounding through your back, dropping the head down. And we'll just go in and out of those 2 poses. Very simple. Inhale to open up. Exhale to contract and round. Take about 3 more. And just notice where there might be a little bit of tension along your spine. This is really wonderful to do if you spend a lot of your time during the day sitting down at a desk or driving. Also great to do first thing in the morning. Take 1 more here. Inhale, drop the belly, lift your gaze up. Exhale, round and contract. And now come back to your neutral tabletop pose. You're going to extend your right leg back behind you and just push into that right heel. So stretching into the calf and a little bit into the ankle. Reaching back, and then you're just going to cross your right foot as far over to the left as you can. Start to push into your right hip and look over your left shoulder towards that right foot. So big side body stretch through the sides of your waist and down the leg. Take a big inhale here and bring that foot back through the center. We're going to step the foot forward in between our palms to the top of the mat. Stack your right knee over the top of your ankle for your low lunge. And start first just by letting your fingertips push and lift you up here. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. And as you melt your hips down towards the floor, you're going to start to feel that nice stretch through the front of your left thigh. And now you can push into the legs a little bit more, engaging some strength as you lift up into this low lunge. Think of rolling your shoulders down and away from your ears. Open your chest a little bit more, maybe even look up. Deep breaths here. And hands come back down to the floor. Now tuck the back toes under so you can lift your back knee off the mat. Keep your left hand under your shoulder and reach your right arm up to the sky. This is your easy twist. You're trying to reach one hand as far away from the other as possible. Strengthening through your legs, pushing actively through your feet. And let's find our first downward facing dog. So right hand down and step the right foot back. So hands are about shoulder width distance apart, feet are about hip width distance apart. And really do not worry about having straight legs, and don't worry about getting your heels to the mat. Start by bending your knees so your heels will be lifted, and see if you can just push into your arms and reach your chest towards your thighs. Relax your head, relax your neck. And over time, maybe you'll be able to start straightening the legs, maybe the heels will touch. But honestly, that's not the goal of the pose. If you're feeling sensation, if you're getting a good stretch, if you're feeling the strength building up in your arms, you're doing it perfectly. Take one more full breath in here. And let's come all the way forward into plank pose and let your knees come down to the floor. So this is your half plank. Reach the tailbone down, pull the heart forward, and lower all the way to your belly. Keep your elbows hugging in towards the sides of your ribs. With your toes pointed back, roll the shoulder back, push into your hands, cobra. So big heart opening here. Exhale to release. Find your child's pose. Reach your hips towards your heels, arms extended out. 3 breaths here. And just notice how this little sequence has activated your body, where you feel it most. And I like to do these little pauses so that we can catch our breath again and find that slow, steady rhythm that's easy to maintain. And let's lift back, tabletop pose. So realign yourself so you have hands under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And this time we're gonna stretch the left foot back or left leg back. And now push into that left heel, just stretching into the calf and into that ankle a little bit. No tension in your upper body. And then we're gonna cross that foot over as far over to the right as you can. Push out into your left hip and look back towards that left foot. So a nice little side bend. Coming back through the center, we're gonna find our low lunge. So step your left foot forward in between your palms, the top of the mat. Align your knee over your ankle and just come up onto the fingertips. Letting gravity pull your hips down a little bit more. Big stretch here. Notice where you're holding tension. And you'll need to engage the muscles in your legs a little bit as well as your belly to lift up into your low lunge. Roll the shoulders back, open up through your chest. Strong through your legs. Inhale into your easy twist. So hands come down, tuck the back toes under, lift your back knee off the mat. Right hand is under your shoulder. Left arm stretches up to the sky. Only looking up at your top hand if that's okay for your neck. If it feels really uncomfortable and awkward, you can just keep looking directly down. Keep pushing into your big left toe. And we're gonna find our downward dog again. Left hand down and step the left foot back. Hip width distance apart with your feet, shoulder width distance apart with your arms. And maybe start to paddle the feet this time in down dog. So that means you're bending one knee and straightening the other leg and just alternating. So stretching one leg at a time. Try to keep your head super heavy so there's no tension in your neck, no tension in your jaw. Let's come forward, plank pose, strong through your core. Knees come down to the floor, lower all the way down onto your belly, elbows in. Push your hands into the mat. Push your feet into the floor. Cobra, open up. Exhale to release. And this time, instead of going to child's pose, we're going back into our downward facing dog. Tuck the toes under and lift your hips up and back. From this down dog, start to walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. And you can bend your knees a lot here. We're coming to our ragdoll fold. So your feet might be wider than your hips, maybe more towards the edges of the mat. You can bend your knees a lot and let your upper body drape and rest over your thighs. The arms can dangle, or sometimes it feels good just to hold on to the elbows and maybe sway a little side to side. Really exhale to let all of the tension go. Let's bring our fingertips back down to the floor. Bend your knees even more and push into your heels to roll all the way up to stand, inch by inch. Rolling your shoulders back, opening up. Okay, so I'm going to turn towards you just to show you what we're doing next. We're coming into our tree pose. So you're going to lean onto your left leg and bring your right foot somewhere along the inside of that left leg. So the toes can always stay down to the floor to help you with balance. You might go up to the shin, or if it's accessible, you can always go up to the inner thigh. Not going to worry too much about how high. I'm going to work right here. And with that bent right knee, think of squeezing it open and hugging into the midline. So this is what you want the pose to look like. I'm just going to turn and go back into your tree pose. So once the legs feel nice and stable, you can start to maybe bring your hands to your heart, or if you'd like to challenge yourself a little further, you're going to reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And some wobbling is totally normal. Don't worry if you fall out of the pose. It happens to everyone, no matter how beginner or advanced you are. Some days are always going to be easier than others. See if you can stretch out and lengthen a little more. If you had your arms up overhead, bring your palms together at the front of your heart. And this time, let's bring our feet together. Bend into your knees and let your hips get heavy, chair pose, building up some strength in your glutes and in your quads. So really squeeze through your glutes, squeeze through your thighs, push your hands in towards one another so you'll feel the shoulders and the pectorals engaged. And see if you can sink down even a little bit more. We're not here forever. Sink it down and now push into your heels to come all the way up. Bring your feet hip-width distance apart. Lean on your left leg a little bit so that you can step your right foot all the way to the back of the mat. This is your high lunge. So feet should be about hip-width distance apart. Front left knee is bending generously. There might be a little bit of a bend in your back leg as well. Shoulders stay over your hips. Once you're feeling stable, then the arms can extend up to the sky. Now, maybe this is enough for you. If you'd like to challenge yourself a little bit more, as you inhale, you're going to stretch up. And on the exhale, see if you can tilt forward and reach your arms back without changing your legs. So keep bending that front leg. Inhale all the way up, crescent lunge. Exhale, tilting forward. Last one like this. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, arms reach back. Hands at the heart, and let's step up to the top of the mat. Taking a vinyasa from here. Inhale, arms rise, palms come together to touch. Exhale, fold all the way forward. You're welcome to bend your knees here. Halfway lift, fingertips move to your shins and lift up so that your chest is parallel to the floor. Exhale to fold, bend your knees and plant your palms so you can step back into that plank pose. Just like before, bring your knees down to the floor, lower all the way down, elbows in. Inhale, cobra, open up your chest. Exhale to release, child's pose. Hips to your heels. Give yourself a good 3 to 5 breaths here to gather your energy, gather your strength, and to really just observe and check in with how you feel right now. And we'll go and do that sequence on the other side. Make your way to your downward facing dog. And we're just here to transition. So from down dog, you can start to walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Finding that ragdoll fold again, so your feet are pretty wide. You can bend your knees a lot. Maybe hold onto the elbows as you sway side to side. And release your hands down, bend your knees, push into your heels so you can roll all the way up to stand, inch by inch. Roll your shoulders down and away. So standing at the top of the mat, we're gonna find tree pose on the second side. So this time you're leaning on your right leg and you're gonna bring your left foot somewhere to the inside. So maybe up to the shin, maybe up towards the inner thigh and inner groin. And remember, you can always keep your toes on the floor so you have a little bit more support. So placing that foot there, you're trying to externally rotate that left hip. So you're pushing your left knee out and squeezing everything into the center. And once you're feeling pretty balanced, your hands might come to the front of your heart, or you might open up, growing some branches from this tree pose. Finding lots of lift. Try not to curl and dig your toes into the floor. It won't make it easier. And start to bring your hands together at the front of your heart into your chair pose. So your feet come together, bend your knees and sink down nice and low. Using a little bit more strength here. Squeeze and push your palms in towards one another. Roll your shoulders back, broad through your chest. Push into your heels, come all the way out. So your feet should be about hip width distance apart. Lean on your right leg so you can step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Front knee bends generously, keeping your shoulders over your hips. Gaze is steady. When you feel balanced, extend your arms up overhead. And maybe you just want to play with staying here and working on your balance. If you'd like to challenge yourself further, we're going to move into those tilts again. So lift and lengthen. And as you exhale, send your arms back. Chest is stretching forward. Inhale, push into the feet to come all the way back up. 2 more, just like this. Exhale, lean it forward. Draw your belly in. Inhale all the way up. Last one, you can do this. Exhale. Definitely a bit of a challenge in this class, all the way back up. Let's bring our hands to our heart and step up to the top of the mat. Finding your flow. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold, swan dive. Halfway lift, bring your fingertips to your shins, lift your chest up. Exhale, bend your knees, step back to plank pose. Knees can lower down as you come all the way to the floor. Point the toes back, push into your hands, cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Hips go to your heels. Okay, so moving away from those standing poses, we're gonna just do a little bit of a cool down, working closer towards the floor. So coming back into your tabletop pose, keep your hips exactly as they are over the top of your knees. Taking your puppy stretch, you're gonna stretch and walk your hands forward so that your forehead is now coming down towards the floor. So my hips are up high. This is not like child's pose. I'm trying to keep my hips lifted and I'm just getting a big stretch through my upper back into my shoulders. Some people maybe feel it in the pectorals as well. And just take 2 breaths here. Feel your rib cage expand front to back and side to side. And we'll slide onto our belly for Sphinx pose. So keep your forearms where they are. Forearms are grounded on the floor. As you inhale, lift up, roll your shoulders back, point back through your toes. Find a nice back bend here. And exhale to lower down. Now we'll do 3 little baby cobras. So keep your toes glued to the floor and just slide your hands back behind you a little bit. As you inhale, pick up everything off the floor. Keep your toes glued, but lift the upper body as well as your hands off the mat. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Exhale to lower back down. 2 more like this. Inhale, hands, head, chest, come up. Exhale, lower back down. Last one, inhale, upper back strength pulls you up. Exhale to release. And go ahead and just flip over onto your back. So once you've flipped over, make sure that your feet are flat to the floor with your knees bent. We're gonna set ourselves up for bridge pose. So you wanna have your heels pretty close in towards your glutes and try not to widen your feet as you do this. We're trying to align our sit bones with our knees and our ankles. Roll your shoulders down, so turn your palms to face up towards the sky. Push your feet into the floor, curl tailbone up, squeeze your glutes as you press your hips up. So once your hips are up as high as you can get them, notice how very often our knees will kind of open up to the sides. Try to keep them hugging in, pushing down into your big toes. Try to relax your neck, your head, really just working on lower body strength, squeezing it in. Take 2 more breaths here. And now with as much control as you can, roll down inch by inch. So your hips are the last thing to touch the floor. Let's pull the right knee in towards our belly and extend your left leg out on the mat. And you're trying to squeeze that right knee in, starting to slow things down, relax your shoulders. And we'll carry this over into a twist. So you're going to cross your right knee and thigh over your body towards the left. And you can use your left hand to kind of guide that thigh down. Right arm can stretch out to the side. So you're trying to keep your shoulder blades grounded and connected to the floor, chest facing up, and just twisting into your hips. One more full breath here. And let's make our way back to center. Go ahead and bend your left knee and cross your right ankle over the top of that left knee. You can reach through with your arms and see if you can pull that thigh in towards you a little bit more, stretching out through those glutes. Head and shoulders stay on the floor, just using a little bit of arm strength here. Give it one last little squeeze before releasing. Uncross the legs. We'll go to the other side. So this time, pull your left knee in towards your chest and straighten your right leg. You might be able to take slower, longer inhales and exhales. And we'll twist this out. So guide your left thigh over your body towards the right side of your mat. And you can reach your left arm out to the side. Big breath in and release back through to center. Let's find reclined pigeon. So cross your left ankle over the top of your right knee and reach through with your arms as you pull that thigh in. Our last little stretch here before we close and come to Shavasana. Give it one last squeeze before we release. And Shavasana, this is your corpse pose. Just open up, take up as much space as you'd like. And this is really your opportunity to process and integrate all of the work you've done. You can think of it as digesting after a big meal. See if you can let yourself be heavy, closing your eyes, and giving yourself this gift of a few minutes of relaxation. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Start to breathe a little deeper so that you really feel your chest and your abdomen expand when you inhale and soften when you exhale. And you can move a little through your fingers and through your toes, maybe turning your head side to side. And just take a big stretch, reaching your arms up overhead, fingertips away from your toes. And you can turn to one side, coming all the way up, rising to take a seat. And sit in any way that is comfortable for you here. Hands can come together at the front of your heart. See if you can feel the effects of your practice. Noticing what has changed and shifted. And I hope you can really be proud of yourself for making it all the way to the end of class, even if it was hard, even if there were challenges along the way. Just acknowledge all of the effort that you've put in, knowing that it's going to get easier every single time that you do it. Let's close with the chant of Om. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Om. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis, for doing this practice with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I have other beginner yoga classes on my channel of varying lengths. So whether you want more half hour or if you just want 10 minutes, definitely check it out. I'll link to everything down below in the description box. Thank you so much. Namaste.